Hey, everybody.
Hey,
Alicia and Josh
what's
here
up?
with Terradrift. And we are here tonight to talk about Leave No Trace with Becca and Luke. So everybody say hi. Feel free to use the chat, wave. Tell us where you are in the world. Where are you viewing from? And what the heck time is it there? It's 7 p.m. here in Mountain Time. But we're gonna talk all things Leave No Trace this evening. I'm personally super excited about it because Becca and Luke are super cool. And I guess we'll go ahead and kick it off, get started as we wait for some more people to show up here. Just brief introductions in case you don't know who we are, and you don't know what Leave No Trace is. I'm Alicia.
And I'm Josh.
Yeah. And we are the co-founders of Terradrift, which is a sustainable outdoor adventure blog and YouTube channel. We exist to encourage more people to get outside and enjoy the outdoors more responsibly and sustainably. And honestly, Leave No Trace is a huge part of that. We have a, like I said, blog
Huge.
and YouTube channel. You're obviously on the YouTube channel right now. So go ahead and hit subscribe if you haven't yet. We'd love to see your smiling faces around here more often, or your, like avatars, whatever. Um, anyway, that's us. Josh here is in charge of all the video production. So anytime you see some really sweet videos, that's all him, bruh. And I do most of the blog and Instagram stuff. Speaking of, feel free to follow us on all the socials. We're on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, or X,
X.
formerly
I
known
guess
as
I
Twitter.
really don't want to call it X, but I guess
It's
that's kind of what it is now.
it's a dumb name. Um, but we are only half of the team having this conversation tonight. Becca and Luke, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourselves?
Yeah.
Sweet. Thanks, y'all. Yeah, we're super excited to be here. Like Alicia said, my name is Luke.
And I'm Becca.
And we are a super Leave No Trace traveling team. So what that means is we are kind of like the mobile education arm of the Leave No Trace organization. So we live in a Subaru, we travel the country full time, teaching about Leave No Trace pretty much anywhere where people are recreating, whether that's like national parks or festivals. We work with youth organizations, we work with land managers. Really, anywhere people are spending time outside, we are teaching about Leave No Trace.
We also do a lot of the online educating. So we contribute to the Leave No Trace blog, the social media channels. You can watch Luke and I try to make TikToks.
Keep up with the young kids.
Yeah. But that's kind of what we do. And we're really excited to be here with y'all. So thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Excited.
I mean, basically, and I've told you guys this before that I considered applying for your job. For those of you who haven't already had that conversation with me, to drive around the country and like talk about how to be more responsible in the outdoors and like live in a car and just explore. Yeah, it's it's a pretty sweet deal.
Yeah, we've already spent a significant amount of time in our car, like road tripping and stuff to far off places. So we felt like we were pretty comfortable with that already, and it'd be a natural transition, but
Maybe next season.
yeah.
Yeah, there's always next season. Y'all sound prepared.
It's a pretty sweet gig. We've been doing this for about 2 years now. And
Yeah, we
we've
love
gotten
it.
to travel all over the country. I think we've been to probably close to like 40 states now.
Yeah.
So I mean, we
Awesome.
love it. Yeah,
So,
every day.
yeah.
Do you have a favorite state or park, that you've been to in this journey?
It's always tough. Probably the first few that come to mind are the Tetons is great. Big
Oh,
Bend
yeah.
is really awesome. We're both from Texas, so that's kind of a
Nice.
special place for us. West Virginia is super awesome. We were there last fall and it blew us away.
Underrated.
Leave No Trace, the
Totally.
headquarters is in Boulder, Colorado, and we totally fell in love with Boulder.
Yeah, Colorado's hard to beat.
Yeah, Colorado is, I think, our favorite state.
Yeah.
Nice. It is pretty nice. It is pretty nice.
Yeah, plus Utah. Utah's
Yeah,
amazing.
Utah rocks.
Yes, for those of you who aren't familiar, Terradrift is based in Utah in Ogden, north of Salt Lake City. So we're in the Wasatch Mountains. We just relocated here about 6 months ago, so we're really excited to be in a very outdoorsy, mountainous state. Finally, we were based in Austin, Texas, for 8 years before that. So, like any Texan who's been to Big Bend, I think also special place
Oh yeah.
in the heart.
The
Texans
stars.
know. Um, but anyway, we're gonna talk about Leave No Trace tonight. At the end of this event here, we're gonna do a little giveaway, so hang around for that. If you registered on the Leave No Trace website, you have been entered. It's probably not too late. I'm not really sure. I mean, the website's probably still up. So if you didn't officially register
Yep.
on the Leave No Trace website, go check that out.
There is a pinned link to it in the chat there, so you can click on that and register.
Absolutely. So we'll do that in a little bit, but let's start chatting about Leave No Trace. Becca, Luke, you guys are the pros. Why don't you give us like a quick rundown of the 7 principles of Leave No Trace?
Totally. Yeah. So the 7 principles are kind of like the cornerstone, like the centerpiece of Leave No Trace curriculum, like how we help people get outside more sustainably, because that is the goal. Like we want as many people as possible enjoying the outdoors. And so the 7 principles are decision-making tools. So it's not like the 7 commandments of the outdoors or like this really strict kind of do's and don'ts. Like these really are 7 things that you can use to inform your decision making. And the great thing is they're principles, so they apply like wherever you are, whether you're in the mountains or on the beach or car camping or skiing or doing whatever you're doing. You can apply these principles to that activity and location. So that way it's really flexible. It's a great framework to develop your own outdoor ethics so that you can feel competent like wherever you are and whatever you're doing. And Becca has a really fun way to remember them.
By fun, he means super cheesy. But
We
these
love
are-
super cheesy.
7 is, kind of a big number, right? So these are 7 hand signals that the organization has come up with so that you always kind of have the 7 principles on hand. So you can be ready for whatever. So I will do them because we're on video, even though they're very cheesy.
They totally work.
Please,
Super fun.
no, please do them. I love cheesy hand signals.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, I've
You all
not
know
heard of
them?
these before, so I'm
Okay, you don't know
very
these?
excited.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we do them all the time with youth, but then we do them with adults as well, just because it's helpful to have something to remember.
We get like roomfuls of park rangers doing these. It's fun.
Yeah. So without
That's
further
great.
ado, principle 1 is plan ahead and prepare. So you're like checking your list, you're checking the weather, making sure you have your road conditions, your map, your gear, all that good stuff. So principle 1, plan, prepare. Principle 2, travel and camp on durable surfaces. So you're not stepping off the trail, you're not trampling vegetation, you're not trampling like habitat. You're gonna set your camp up in a nice durable area, you're not hurting anything. Principle 3 is dispose of waste properly. So you pick your trash up, you throw your litter away in trash can. This is also twofold. So we do a lot of poop talk. So this can be your trowel if you're backcountry camping and you can dig your hole, poop in your hole, cover it back up. So principle 3 is dispose of waste properly. Principle 4 is leave what you find. So you go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you take photos of cool rocks, flowers, antler droppings. Yeah. Interesting things that you find outside because you're not taking those with you. You're leaving them in the environment. Principle 5 is to minimize campfire impacts. I had a kid tell me once that this means don't touch porcupines.
It's a great advice.
Yeah.
Not the principle.
No.
Yeah.
But yeah, principle 5, minimize campfire impacts. Principle 6 is to show respect to wildlife. And then
Nice.
principle 7 is to be considerate of other people. So you say, hey, and peace on the trail to communicate respect, to be inclusive, show everyone that, they're welcome in the outdoors. And those are the 7 principles of Leave No Trace.
Yeah.
I love those so much.
Super
That's
easy.
fantastic.
I literally can't wait to teach them to everyone I know.
Yeah, and it takes all of 60 seconds
Yeah.
too. So you don't have to feel like you need, this whole like spiel for everything. You just have them ready on hand so people can start thinking about it to make their own outdoor ethic.
Awesome. Also, every time I think of the 7 principles, I'm like, okay, I'm definitely not going to get them in the right order. Not that I'm sure order matters all that much, but as long as you get them all. But even then, I'm like, okay, I'm missing one. What's the? This is perfect. I love a good mnemonic. Okay, so let's kick it off with some questions in the comments. Everybody attending, feel free to drop your leave no trace questions if you have questions about pooping in the woods or apple cores or peels or good grief, washing your hair in an alpine lake. Anything, go ahead and start dropping those questions in the comments whenever you think of them, and we'll start sort of addressing them as we go. Let me. I know some folks have sent us some questions ahead of time, so we kind of have some in the back pocket we can sort of start with while you guys sort of think of what you need to know about leave no trace or the nuances of all of those 7 principles that Becca just walked us through. So, let's talk about the thing everybody wants to talk about first, right? Which is it's got to always be poop. Right?
Oh yeah, right in the thick
Like,
of it. Yeah.
Poop is I mean, you might as well just start with the big one.
We do a lot of poop talk.
Yes, yeah. I'm sure like us, you are not shy about talking about pooping in the woods.
It's very important. Yeah.
So let's talk about how to do it responsibly, and also like some of the questions that I've seen a lot are not just like how to dig a cat hole, but is there a rule for when I should dig a cat hole versus when I should use a wag bag? And BT Dubs, guys, wag bags, if you're not familiar, because that's a weird term, it's basically a doggy bag, but for human waste. So, yay.
Yeah,
Sometimes they have little minerals in them to help not smell, but only if you're lucky and you want to carry the extra weight.
I gotta say, wag bags, they actually do smell.
Yeah, they're not smell proof.
Yeah,
they are not.
Unfortunately.
Painful personal experience. Not smell proof. But yeah, that's a really good question that brings up a lot of that's just like an important thing to think through. So cowls are great. They found that they really do work. That so if you dig your 6 to 8 inch deep hole, they did some. Leave no trace has done some pretty robust research, and that is like the area that has the most microbial life. So
a poor grad student.
Yeah, I had to check poop at various depths, but
poor grad student.
Break it down. Yes, this is real research that actually do
on the ground science.
It's important research.
Yeah, but that's really great in organic soil. So like really places that are forested, have lots of plants, lots of good microbial life. Cat holes work pretty well. They don't really work as well in places like the desert or really rocky environments, or especially places near water sources. So that cat hole should be at least 200 feet from a water source. That's 70 large steps. And so when you can't meet those kinds of requirements, when you don't have organic soil, you can't get far away from a water source. Maybe it's really snowy. There are all kinds of places where cat holes just aren't really appropriate. And even places that are getting like a lot of use, like really popular trails are starting to require wag bags more. If anyone's ever been to a dispersed campsite, sometimes there are more cat holes than campsites. So wag bags are becoming more and more popular.
And if you go like this, from your pinky to your thumb, you actually have a 6-inch measuring stick. So you can dig your hole. Yeah, check it right there with your yeah, exactly. Nice. Check it, make sure that it's at that appropriate depth, and then you're going to want to cover the waste back up. We say you renaturalize the area. So a lot of people will tell us sometimes yep, I always dig a cat hole, and when I'm done, I stick a stick right on top. So everybody knows it was there, and they won't dig that up.
We do not recommend that, because then everyone's like, what's under this stick? Like we really want it to be like no one was there.
It's buried treasure.
No trace. So you get to kind of we say you can fluff the duff, like pine duff, kind of put that back over it. You can throw a strategic pine cone on there to really kind of camouflage it. And then we Leave no trace is a spectrum. So we would recommend packing out your toilet paper. If you're not super comfortable packing out your toilet paper,
Like some people are just like, no, I will not do that. Like
Disgusting.
I will never do that.
Yeah.
And like everyone has the right to be in the outdoors, and leave no trace is not like a tool to be used to like keep people from going outside or like berate those who don't, practice it perfectly. It's like, it's information, it's education. So if people are completely unwilling to pack out toilet paper, like that's their choice. That's their part of their outdoor ethic, and we want them to still be outside. So we recommend getting the toilet paper underneath the waste before you bury it. That helps kind of break it down quicker. But packing it out is pretty simple. We just have like a Ziploc that's the toilet paper bag, and then you get rid of it when you are out of the woods. But some people, that's a big barrier, and we don't want to be putting barriers.
And I guess throughout this conversation, you'll probably hear us mention like spectrum things, because there are different things that we can do, like to make sure that we are really leaving very little, no trace, aspirational, right? To things that would be kind of lower on the spectrum. And we want to give people different options, because the idea is that the more time that they spend outside, the more they'll fall in love with it, the more that they're going to understand the natural world and how their impacts have a consequence on that. And so they're more likely to move themselves along once they kind of have more leave no trace education, once they're more comfortable with it. But everybody has to start somewhere.
Yeah, it's like self-directed.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Gotcha.
Yeah. We all started somewhere. And I think that's so important to remember, even for me, when I'm hiking a trail and I'm about to get mad at somebody who's got like music playing on a stereo. We all start somewhere. Like we all enjoy the outdoors differently. And yes, there's like a respect for your fellow outdoor enthusiasts. But other than that, like culture comes into it as well, and all that stuff. So like remembering that is super important.
Yeah.
And actually, I think you actually answered one of the kind of questions, which was since toilet paper basically disintegrates, it biodegrades, right? Why can't you bury it? And that's because you sort of alluded to it. I think that it doesn't break down very rapidly.
No, it's pretty slow. It has lots of like chemicals and dyes and things in it. So like it's not ideal. Like if we can remove that trace, it's best to do that. Yeah.
And biodegradable is kind of a funny term. Like technically,
Indeed,
not biodegradable, but a lot of things are biodegradable that we don't.
It's about like the time and what's
Yeah.
left over, and so it's biodegradable is more of a kind of a nuanced topic than just like will it go away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
for sure. And of course, if you, I have to plug like 2 products here because gear testers. But Packed Outdoors makes not only a really cool like poop kit, well, I think they call it a bathroom kit. But it has like your spade in it. It's got like depending which size you get, it's got like compressed wet wipes, and the most beautiful thing I think is they developed these mycelium tabs that you drop in your cat hole with your waste, and those wipes that actually is proven to help everything break down like a number of times faster, and then actually makes those nutrients bioavailable to the soil and like surrounding plants and stuff. So that's really cool. But
Yeah, that's cool.
also on the toilet paper front, definitely if you're going to not pack out your toilet paper, right, you need to bury it. Because the worst thing ever is like hiking a trail and people have just like left
Toilet
Yeah.
paper flowers.
Yeah.
yeah in the bushes. I hate it. Like so there's this thing called the Kula cloth, that is a reusable microbial pea cloth, basically, that it basically replaces toilet paper for liquid waste, for mainly those who squat to pee. But that's the things we've talked about on Terradrift, and definitely cool to look into as far as bathroom things goes. There was another question. How far, and this is a great one, how far from a water source should you use biodegradable soap?
Ooh,
Because, right, biodegradable soap does not biodegrade in water.
Right. Yeah,
So
that
talk us
one,
through it.
you want to take that one?
Yeah, this is one of those, again, technically a lot of things are biodegradable. It does not necessarily mean that we should be leaving them out there. And I overheard a conversation recently in the bathroom. Some people were complaining about other people taking a shower in the river. And she was like, those idiots, like, I've got my river safe soap and my river safe soap is biodegradable. So I'm good. And they don't know that, which, it's just a bummer because I think that it's marketing towards people who are like really well intentioned, but we would still recommend never washing food, like your dishes, your body, or your hair if you're going to use soap. If you're just going to take a rinse off, that can be really refreshing for sure in a river. But if you're planning on using soap, one of those people, then you're going to want to maybe get some water and carry it 200 feet away, which is how many large steps? Do you remember?
I believe earlier 70 paces.
Nice.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Uh-huh.
you're 70 large adult steps away from the water source, and then kind of do a little rinse off
Little bucket
situation.
shower number.
Yeah, maybe grab a buddy, some help. Yeah, to get yourself clean. But there's no such thing as river safe soap. It's still going to change the pH of the water, which can lead to algae blooms. Animals don't want to drink it. You're going to get that gross kind of film on the top. And then even things like sometimes people will slather sunscreen on, or like bug spray, or even things like natural coconut oil or whatever before swimming. We really don't want to put anything in that water source. And so just being aware of what you have on you before you get in is really important too.
Nice.
Right on.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I remember when I learned about biodegradable soap and water, I was
Yeah, because like my very first backpacking trip, we went to the store and bought all this stuff, and I'm like, oh, biodegradable soap. Oh, it's
Yeah.
Excellent.
better for the environment.
Yeah. Which, I mean, we like to use a lot of natural products, but it's
Sure,
still
yeah.
if you can use them over there,
Yeah.
200 feet
Yeah.
away.
I just wish we were like
Right.
set up for success a little bit more.
Yeah.
But the whole like river safe soap thing is not my favorite.
Yeah, no, that's there's just like in the world of sustainability, there's a lot of marketing that makes things sound like what they're not.
It's a bummer.
But anyway,
For sure.
I think let's see. Oh, hey, look, a question about tablets that help break down waste.
There we go.
Didn't even see that. Already talked about it. You're welcome.
Damn.
Let's see. We talked about marking cat holes. What other? Oh, again, keep plugging in your questions if you have them. There was another question I got earlier that was that very relevant. Lots of people ask about so respecting your fellow outdoorists, right? Who has the right of way on multi-use trails, and does that change if, say, you're trail running as opposed to hiking or that sort of thing? Who has to yield to whom here? And I'm talking about like I assume bikers, hikers, equestrians. What do we do?
Yeah, that's a good one. So basically, the way that it works is if we have kind of this ideal sort of multi-use trail where you've got bikers and hikers and equestrian or stock users, everyone's going to yield to the stock, to the horse, just because the horse or donkey or whatever it is. Just because camels, ideally, I hope, alpacas, but like those dudes don't have a brain. Like they cannot conceptualize who, the ins and outs of who they're sharing the trail with. So we want to give animals the right of way. It can be best to just kind of ask whoever is managing them, like, where do you want me to just communicate with them? We wouldn't want a horse to get, skittish or kick or anything like that.
That's a great idea. I'm not sure I had thought about asking the rider, like, where do you want me? Although usually when I come across them, you only have so many options.
Yeah.
But
I think communicating just like in general, like is always best. If you just have an option to ask someone, what would you like in this situation?
like I'm visually impaired, so I walk with a cane, and me and Becca like to hold hands when we hike. And technically, people would yield to someone with a disability. Like that's another kind of up there with equestrians. People will yield, or
Wheelchair
ideally would yield to
users.
someone with a disability or someone with mobility, concerns. But I don't really, it stresses me out when people kind of yield to me and step aside, because then I have to try and kind of figure out like, where are they? So like it is nice when people say like, hey, where do you want me? And then I say like, oh, I'll just step right over here and let you pass. So there is like nuance, and not everyone's situation is going to be the same. But generally, whoever has the mechanical advantage is the one who should yield. So like whoever's moving faster has the responsibility to make sure no one gets hurt. So kind of the classic example is like mountain bikers ideally should yield to hikers. And that, if it plays out like that, that's great. It sometimes does not. But that's kind of the ideal, is that they would, since they have the potential to cause more harm, it's up to them to yield. The same goes for like ATVs or OHVs or whatever.
I know you're a trail runner. What do you usually do?
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because I'm a hiker. I'm an occasional trail runner. I am a mountain biker.
Yep.
I don't ride horses, but I have encountered them out there. And this question was so relevant because just yesterday I was thinking kind of the same thing. Is like, should I step off the trail when I come across a hiker like coming towards me, or should they? Because look at me, I'm running. I'm moving fast, like shoo. But it makes perfect sense. Explained that way, that like, okay, I'm moving faster, so I am like, I could knock somebody off a trail easier if like I brush them. Like it's fine.
Yeah.
It's easier for me to step off. As a mountain biker, I love it when pedestrians yield the trail to me. Because I know they don't have to.
Yeah.
And so when I'm hiking, I will always step off the trail for a mountain biker if I can, because I'm that as well. And I know that it's especially if they're traveling uphill, I know how hard it is to start a mountain bike again when you're on it.
Yes.
Oh yeah, that's brutal.
So yes, pedestrians have the right of way over cyclists, but it just feels like polite and considerate. And I think that's kind of what being in the outdoors should always be like, is like being considerate of other people. I actually came up with a great idea for a sticker. I think Josh needs to design it, and we'll make it and maybe put it on the Terradrift shop. Those coexist bumper stickers, but instead of all like the religions and things, it just has like a little hiker symbol and a little mountain biker symbol.
Right.
Like everybody coexist on the trail and we'll have a great time.
You
I
better
love
be
it.
careful talking about that out loud. Someone might steal that.
Oh,
But
sorry.
I am
Go
going
on.
to I am going to
Right.
interject real quick. Some
Me, I'm
people said that they were missing the chat. If you're having problems with the chat, go ahead and just refresh your page and it should come back. Anyway, onward.
Honestly, I don't see the chat either. So y'all are fielding questions. Yeah.
Good thing we have Josh here to do like technical stuff.
I also do want to mention there are some trails where mountain bikers do have the right of way. Like that's the rule.
They're mountain biking trails.
Yeah.
Sure.
So like
Right. Yep.
it does depend on kind of like local rules and regulations. That is something to like check before. So you're not like the hiker that's out there like, why aren't you yielding to me? Because like there are some trails where like, it really is the mountain biker's trail.
And it's always a good idea to like check the trailhead signage when you show up at a
Yeah.
place that has one, because usually that's where that information will live,
Right.
as well as like leash laws and things. Speaking of which, dog poop
Ooh, yeah.
is a question you guys get a lot, right? So like, what do we do with it? Do we pick it up? Is it okay to bag it and like leave it by the side of the trail? Like why, what, how, what are people doing? What should they be doing?
And
I don't have a dog.
Birds are iconic on the side of the trail. We see it
It's
all the time.
One of the most
I
common
hate it.
litter items.
Yeah. So no, we don't recommend doing that,
No.
bagging it. I really think that a lot of times people will come up to us and treat us kind of like a leave
Like
no
a
trace.
confessional.
Yeah, like they need to get some things off and like confess some less than leave no trace things that they've done. So we
Forgive me, leave no trace, for I have sinned.
Yeah.
Go
You're
say the 7
forgiven.
principles 7 times and
Yeah,
good to
clean
go.
up your litter. But we have had people come up to us and say, like, I forgot my dog waste recently, like last week, because I was hiking and I thought that I would come back by, but the trail went a different way. And so I just have to really give people the benefit of the doubt that maybe they truly thought that, because they did take the effort to like pick up a hot and stinky turd. So, you know, maybe they really did think that they were going to come back and pick it up. But
True
the
story.
poop fairy does not come. We do need to pack it out. There
A
are,
poop fairy.
yeah, there are 13 billion trips into the outdoors every year, and there are, I think, 83 million pet dogs in the U.S. alone. And so we talk a lot about like packing out dog waste, because it's not just like one dog that poops on the trail. You know, once you're looking at these cumulative impacts of like millions of dogs and billions of people, that's when there's enough waste to really change the ecosystem.
It's also the #1 contaminant in our water supply, dog poop. So
Crazy.
it's like, it is gross. It's not like just like a deer or a bear or something like that. Dog poop has all kinds of nastiness in it, like, bacterias and parasites and stuff that can actively get us sick. Their diet is not what the deer are eating. Even if your dog eats like the really fancy dog food, it's not what we want to be leaving. So it is not the same as wildlife pooping in the outdoors. So we really do recommend packing it out whenever possible, all the way out.
A lot of animals, like for like certain types of cherries and berries, part of their kind of life cycle is to get processed by animals. And so they'll be eaten by a bear, and that outer layer is broken down in the bear's stomach, and then they're transported and mixed with dirt, and then they are able to grow more efficiently. But dog waste it's not part of the ecosystem. And so it really just throws things out of whack, changes the pH of the soil. So packing it out is crucial.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. Good to know.
Yeah, I know there was
Do y'all have a dog?
We do not.
occasional thing, travel way too much. But yeah, I know dog waste definitely has contributed to, like in Austin, algae and that sort of thing,
Mhm.
nasty
Yeah.
things in the waterways. But
Also, why I always filter and purify.
yeah,
Totally.
When I'm backpacking.
that would be
Some
an interesting one to get into.
Yeah, some might call it overkill, but I haven't gotten Giardia, so
Good for you. Yeah.
or E. coli or whatever. So it seems to be working pretty well for me.
What works?
Yeah, proof is in the pudding.
Right. Okay. Did we figure out the chat situation, Josh?
People in the chat, let me know if things are working.
Everyone in the
if you
chat is
cannot-
working.
Yeah.
Just throw a poop emoji in there or something.
Nice.
I don't, whatever.
All the
Let
poop
let
emojis.
us know. And again, if you don't see the chat, go ahead and refresh the page.
And that should hopefully work. We'll see. And keep dropping your
shall
questions
see.
in there. Hopefully, when you refresh, it'll start working for you.
Yep.
In the meantime, here's one that I have sometimes wondered about, honestly. And that is campfires. Is there ever a time when it's okay not to douse your campfire to soup? Maybe it's in the winter or after it's rained recently, and I'm planning to light my fire up again in the morning. Are any of those times an okay time not to like soup my fire?
When you are sitting there enjoying your fire, you should not extinguish it.
Yeah, like when you're done with it,
That's about it.
it's done though.
Yeah.
Yeah, like when you're not paying attention to it anymore is when you should douse it. Just like, I don't know, the risks are so high just with fire in general. Like why not douse it? Yeah, I mean, that's That's how I see it. I
And
don't
starting
really,
a campfire is half the fun.
Yeah.
So if you put it out and then you get to start it again, you're working on your skills.
Yeah, your fire
skills.
starting skills.
So
Everyone
important.
likes that.
Yeah, it's excellent. Josh always needs practice starting fires.
Yeah, he looks like he needs some practice.
Oh yeah.
Maybe
so
like
much.
roasting a marshmallow too.
Oh, I now want a s'more with a peanut butter cup.
Whoa.
Next
Because
level.
Yeah, no kidding.
that's how I roll. Here's one that somebody has shared with me. Is it okay to pee in a natural body of water?
Spectrum.
Yeah. So it depends. Ocean, you're totally good to go.
Big old ocean.
Yeah,
Nice.
no worries. So fast flowing rivers is also good to go. There is a number, but it's measured in like feet. There's like a measurement of river speed, and I'm not really like a river guy. So, if any of you are like big rafters, please do not roast me in the chat section.
CFS or something like that.
Yeah, cubic feet per second or something like that.
An acronym.
Yeah, but if the river is flowing very fast, like that's like a really good flowing river, you're good to go.
It might be flowing so fast that it would be uncomfortable or even dangerous to swim in. But if there's a lot of water, it's flowing, then you're probably good to go.
Pee is pretty much, it's generally not as contaminating as poop. So it's less of a concern. That's not to say it's like no concern. Like they have done studies of, I think it was in Denver, they did a study of water and found all kinds of like weird, like psychoactive stuff in water from people's urine, like antidepressants and
birth control,
caffeine, and just like, stuff that people had, passed through their urine. So it's not completely inert, but it's not quite as big of a deal as poop.
It is that spectrum too. So, I mean, we want to make sure that we're asking people to do things that are reasonable. So if they're going to be really uncomfortable, to get out, but if they're comfortable getting out and going pee, please. Yeah.
That's the best thing for it.
Yeah. We would just want to make sure also thinking through those social impacts. So we have ecological impacts, which we've been talking about, mostly kind of things that how we affect the environment. But we also do want to think about how we're affecting other people. And so if you're in a really busy body of water, I can't recommend peeing like on all the other people either, but also walking out and, staring people in the eye and taking a leak. Yeah, that's not polite either. So really making sure that you're thinking through your social and your ecological impacts.
So important. Peeing in public, knowing how to do it appropriately.
Tactfully. Yeah. The tactful pisser.
Yes.
Yes.
So good. Speaking of waste still / again, because it never gets old. We had one question for about where to go. Oh, can you dig a cat hole for your dog's poop too? Or is
you can.
Yeah, okay.
It's on the spectrum. So like if you're not going to pack it out, the cat hole would be the next best thing. It is ideal to pack it out. But if you're not going to do that, then
if you're on a really long backpacking trip or something like that, like you can. You certainly can.
That's better than leaving it on the surface for sure. Yeah.
Good to know.
Gotcha. Okay.
Thank you. See, I don't have a dog, so that never even occurred to me.
Yeah. People will ask us all the time, like, well, wouldn't it be better to do that instead of using a single-use plastic bag where, we don't recommend using single-use plastic. We really want to avoid that as much as possible. But if we want to make sure that we're also concentrating our impacts. And so it comes to picking up that dog poop and putting it in like a landfill or burying it where it can decompose instead of, having crap all over.
It's kind of like weighing the lesser of two evils. And it is preferable to get it out of the natural world where it really doesn't belong and can do a lot of damage, even if it does kind of entail using that single-use dog bag to get it out of there.
There are circumstances where we have to use single-use plastics. We recognize that we're in this broken system, so things like wag bags. But we also, Luke and I will hoard single-use plastics that we have found ourselves in contact with unavoidably. So like
Tortilla wrappers. We cannot find tortillas without
Yeah.
like bread bags and stuff like that.
bread, certain types of like grapes, they'll come in those single-use packages that zip. So, or, dried snacks if you're not buying things in bulk. So if you're buying like a pack of,
Give it one more
dried
use
fruit.
to pack out some gross trash.
yeah. So we have, this is our like valuable trash, and we have valuable trash kind of stashed in our car where like we're going to use that.
Oh my gosh, we have such a huge stockpile of valuable trash.
Yeah.
It's
You
get
use
it
some.
out of
Yeah,
hand.
glass jars.
But
If you
frankly,
can use glass item one time, you cut down on its carbon emissions by 30%.
40%.
Crazy.
40%.
And I'm like, I'm not, I mean, yes, there's that stuff I'm saving, but also like a duffel bag that we're about to test just came in, like a giant plastic bag.
Mhm.
Turns out that thing was the exact size of the inside of the new ultralight backpack that I have to test. So
Ooh, nice.
there's my pack liner.
Yeah,
no kidding.
jackpot.
Boom.
Yep.
You put your arm around your partner, and I thought, body bag? What are we doing?
Like,
Poor
what?
Josh.
No, she was just
Like,
being
We like to keep those on hand also, just in case.
I've
she
got
was
a
being
perfect
just being dramatic.
plastic bag.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Now that we've weirded everybody out,
Yeah.
it's just who I am. Deal with it. There was this is an excellent one. Should one knock down cairns on a hiking trail? And I know this one's like
We're in
crazy.
dangerous waters here.
Yes,
People
because it's
up.
the rules are so all over the place. I mean, even like depending from one national park to another, like one national park is like knock down cairns, and another one says no, those are there for a reason. So, woo, you wanna try to tackle that?
So we've worked with land managers kind of at all points of this cairn discussion. Basically, cairns are a lot of times are useful for navigation. Like that's their purpose. Like we've been to some places where there is not really a trail, or the trail is very indistinct, like in deserts or wilderness areas. And in those kind of situations, land managers will put up cairns intentionally to keep people from getting lost. So in that kind of situation, we don't want to be knocking cairns over. We also worked with a group out in West Virginia, and one of the volunteers was telling us about a story when she was dismantling a cairn. She accidentally smashed a salamander, like because she was, like knocked down a bunch of rocks and
an endangered salamander.
Yeah, and so like we do have to realize like those cairns can be really good habitat for people. So or not people, little salamanders.
I mean, salamanders are people too.
Yeah. So we don't want to be just like kicking them over willy nilly. Basically, if the land manager says like knock down cairns, we don't want them here, then I guess it's open season. Just do it carefully.
I wouldn't like Hulk smash it.
Yeah,
I mean, maybe kind of gently, delicately. Yeah, same thing.
Practice your judo kicks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
But I guess defer to the land manager. But basically, do what they say.
Also, I think we talk about this a lot, and then we'll come across people who are like, by the way, what's a cairn? So we're not talking about like, a woman in the outdoors. We're talking about rock stacks, and a lot of people will stack them as kind of like artistic fun, because they can be really beautiful and like hard to stack. And then once you get it, it can be kind of interesting to look at. So we're just talking about stacks of rocks like that.
Yeah, because I know recently we were hiking in central Utah, and there hadn't been a single cairn. It was like mostly you were hiking through washes and through slot canyons, so you don't need trail markers.
Right.
There's literally nowhere to go. And finally I saw one stacked on a really strange place, and I was like, hey, I don't think that cairn's supposed to be there. Should we knock it down? Should we talk about knocking it down? Is this a discussion? And like 3 feet later, we reach a dead end, and we're like, oh no, that's actually where we're supposed to go. That is
Yeah.
Ah,
marker.
Yeah, we had a campsite recently where we kind of set up our camp and it was really dispersed. And there was a cairn there, and we got there pretty late at night, and so we hadn't had a chance to explore. And I didn't knock it down. We were gonna kind of wait and check it out. But then we noticed that there was a trail that left. And it wasn't a trailhead. It was like a very dispersed area. It was definitely a campsite. There were fire rings and stuff, but it was marked there to let people know if you want to go on this trail, that's where it is. And so there are definitely times where land managers use them that are important.
Yeah. So yeah, I think right, unless someone at a ranger station or something specifically says, go knock down cairns. I would be hesitant, but definitely don't stack them yourselves.
yeah.
That's a
that's
safe statement, right?
Yeah.
Or if you do, dismantle them before you.
Yeah.
You know, if you want to make a rock stack.
If your kids are super stoked on stacking rocks, let them stack some rocks. It's harmless fun.
And then unstack them.
Yeah.
Awesome. That actually reminds me of another question. I just want to make sure there's not. Oh yes, there is, and maybe we'll come back to the one that I had. So brushing your teeth when you're backpacking or camping, is it okay to just spit anywhere in the dirt away from your campsite? Do you have to go the same amount of distance as like food if you're washing your dishes, that sort of thing?
Should you just spit it in an open waterway?
Should you spit it in your partner's mouth?
We're going too far now. Too far.
Yeah, basically, it's this is another thing that's kind of on that spectrum. We really would not want toothpaste to end up in a water source. So, getting that 200 feet away from the water source before kind of spitting that on the ground. And then whenever we're brushing our teeth, it's like we look pretty extra ridiculous doing it because you really want to like disperse that spray, like you really kind of spray it.
Put your hair
like
back.
We're talking spit take from
back.
like an 80s movie, right?
Yeah.
It's like a really good spit
take.
Yeah. Someone has said something truly crass and you really spread that toothpaste.
They suggested spitting their toothpaste in their partner's mouth, and
yeah,
then you said what?
Exactly. And if it helps, if you're hiking with a partner, they can tell a joke to help you do the spit, if you want to projectile, trying to make you laugh or something.
We also, we do a lot of car camping, and so we also drink a lot of seltzer waters. And so sometimes when you're done with it, you have this empty can, so you can kind of like spit it in your can, and then you just pack it out like normal, so you don't have like liquid in your trash bag.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
We briefly experimented with a toothpaste jar.
With like an old pasta sauce jar.
That got so gross so quickly.
In like one day.
Yeah, it was
wild.
A failed experiment.
Do not do that.
I can't recommend
No.
it.
Spit is slimy.
Yeah.
It was really rough.
We were like, yeah, it'll be okay. We'll kind of just like maybe wash it, or like we eat a lot of pasta. We'll have lots of jars.
Didn't go well.
No,
it was
it's
so
like a
gross.
one-time use.
Yeah,
thing.
it was like a petri dish.
Yeah, so don't do that. Also, you don't have to use that much toothpaste.
Yeah.
I recently had to get gum surgery because I brushed too hard. And it was a bummer. But the dentist said that we're really supposed to be using just like a tiny bit of toothpaste, teeny tiny bit. So really, like once you have water and stuff, you've got water and you've already used the toothpaste, like you should be spitting out. It shouldn't be white and foamy and fluffy. Otherwise, you will spend thousands of dollars on dental care like I did. So yes, a little bit of toothpaste.
Tell my toothpaste tabs that, because so help me. Every time I try a new toothpaste tab, I'm like, maybe this will be less foamy. I like nibble off the tiniest corner of my tab, and still I'm like foaming at the mouth.
Oh yeah, insane. I don't know
these things.
Rabid.
What's in those things?
Rabid dog. They're great for backpacking though, because you take exactly as many as you need.
It's true,
and they're super duper light.
No extra water.
Let's see here. I wonder if a Sawyer will filter fentanyl. Good question. I'll ask him next week when I go backpacking with them. Let's see. The Karen's correct. Talking about toothpaste. Yeah, you can swallow it. You can swallow small amounts of toothpaste. Is also an option.
we camp full time. So
Yeah.
like for me, you know, that's that spectrum where like I'm not actually willing to swallow my toothpaste every day.
Yeah.
You don't camp. Also, if you don't camp that often, just do water. I don't know.
Yeah,
like,
I don't know, skip a day.
Floss.
Yeah.
It's the brushing motion that really does the trick.
Exactly.
Floss counts for a lot. You get a lot of stuff out of there too.
Yeah, if you floss, you're gold.
We do have good dental hygiene though.
I love it. I just I've lost the question that I have. What were we talking about before this?
Probably poop.
Probably poop.
Poop came in quite a bit. I mean, it was a common theme.
It always is.
It always is.
Poop is fun to talk about. There was one question that's Leave No Trace related, but not necessarily principal related for you guys. What are some effective games for younger kids to reinforce the Leave No Trace principles? Something that can be easily done during campouts. I mean, obviously the hand motions are all beautiful, but do you have other ideas? Because I think there are some folks here from Scouts. So
yeah. Hey Scouts, glad you came. We love working with Scouts and we love working with youth educators who are out there. It's such a special job. So
or even just parents who, are into that.
So thanks for what you're doing. We have a lot of resources. The Leave No Trace website, lnt.org. There are a lot of free lesson plans that are already made with like free printable cards, things that are like ready to go. We even have some stuff that's Common Core standard aligned. So if you're a teacher, it's not just like silly fluff activities, but they're really things that kids should be like learning and doing in school. But besides that, you want to talk through some of our like heavy favorite games?
Yeah, we play a game called Durable Surfaces Hopscotch, which is basically you just need like a few index cards and you write surfaces on them, like snow or dirt or
sand, flour,
moss, or whatever, all kinds of different surfaces. And you lay them face down in a couple rows on the ground. And so it's kind of a memory game. Like kids will flip one over, and if it's durable, they get to move to the next row. And flip the next one over. If it's not durable, they have to flip them all back face down, and their time on the trail is over. And so everyone has to pay attention. You kind of have to like learn the trail, see where people before you went, and you get to talk about what surfaces are durable and not durable as you do it. You can make them jump, like put them really far apart too. That's a fun one.
Well, also we do something before or after trash cleanups a lot called Trash Timeline. And this is on the Leave No Trace website with the free lesson plan there, but it has how long these very common litter items take to decompose. So like aluminum cans, glass bottles, plastic items, diapers, fishing line. And then you're able to sort it out like a timeline, and you can use real trash that you've already found. You can do this before to kind of kick off a cleanup, but that's something that's really fun to just get people to know that what they're doing matters. We're saving things from being out there for like hundreds or thousands or millions of years. We also play a game called, last one, Hug a Tree. And so this helps to kind of talk about the nuance, because a lot of times with Leave No Trace, it can come across as
like, don't touch anything. Like go out there, but don't touch anything.
We've been called Leave No Fun.
And
we're
that's
not
like,
Leave No Fun.
No, we want to communicate. Like the outdoors, nature is, we're a part of it, and we should be able to interact with it and like really feel that we are a part of the natural world.
And nature is sturdy too.
Yeah.
Like it can, we are giving it a beating, and it is taking it. And still,
that's true.
Yeah.
We're doing our darndest.
Things are durable, and especially so this game we teach with trees, it's called Hug a Tree. So basically we'll split kids into pairs. One kid will be blindfolded and the other will not. And the non-blindfolded kid will lead the other to a tree.
You're in a big wooded area.
The kid will have a chance to kind of like feel the tree, really interact with it, see if it has any like funky roots or anything that they can use to identify it. Then they'll be led back to where we're starting. Their blindfold comes off, and then they have to guess which tree they were touching. And so it's a really fun way to like, get kids actually tactily feeling things, like touching trees and smelling it, and just kind of that kinesthetic connection.
And then we have the conversation of, did we hurt the tree? No. Why not? Like, what things in nature are we able to really touch and engage with? What things are we not? And it just kind of gets the conversation going about our behavior in the outdoors.
Awesome. I'm always down for a little tree hugging.
Oh yeah, we got a few pictures of you hugging trees.
One or two.
Yeah. It's It's always fun.
Yeah, this also sounds like a game that I would play with my nieces and nephews and then like play a terrible trick on them or something.
Yeah, we have to talk through safety pretty thoroughly before. Like, trick your friends, like, please, everyone help each other out.
I'm just gonna blindfold you. Hug this tree. Bye. um, I'm sorry for any family watching this. I will never leave your children in the woods.
Your nieces are like noted.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we are coming into the end of our time here, and I mean, it's been such a fun chat. So many good questions and fun things to talk about. Feel free to chat. Through add more questions to the chat or whatever. Add tips, tricks that whatever. Leave no trace, man. There's so much there. Also, on the website, you can take a whole course for free. Correct?
Yes, we have a 45-minute, it's like self-paced. It's a really high quality course, introduces you to all things Leave No Trace.
We hear from people a lot who are like, oh yeah, I was a scout, or like I took a course many years ago, that it's just a good refresher. And it takes all of 45 minutes and you get a certificate at the end so you can share it with people. But the course is really high quality.
Yeah.
I did it. I can attest to this.
That's very sweet. Yeah.
Because I was like, what? I can get a little Leave No Trace training from my house? Awesome.
Yeah, it's free.
Mm-hmm.
It was wonderful. So I guess right before we go, I feel free to share like what's your most ridiculous Leave No Trace question or story that you've experienced in these last 2 years of working with Leave No Trace. I want to hear ridiculous juiciness.
Oh my.
Oh man, what are we gonna tell them?
I'm sorry I didn't prep you for this question.
My boss watching this.
Oh, snap.
We get a lot of recommendations from people who
Should I share my first wag bag story?
yeah, you should.
Yeah.
Oh, everybody loves the first wag bag story.
Everyone remembers their first time. So I was climbing with a lot of very cool, famous climbers.
They're like National Geographic climbers.
I was at an adaptive ice climbing fest, and I was like it was my first time ice climbing.
Athletes, like
they're hardcore.
big names.
Oh, wow.
And we roll up to the crag. I had to get up so early and get all this like unfamiliar ice climbing
rental
gear.
gear.
It's
We're
rental
not-
gear,
we've never
and it's
ice
also
climbed.
sharp. There are blades everywhere. There are crampons and axes and helmets and such.
And a bunch of blind people.
Yeah,
And-
and so I'm like trekking out there with all of these weapons, and I get to the foot of the wall of ice, and I really need a wag bag because it's snowy and you cannot dig a cat hole in snow. And so I'm pretty good, I'm close with one of the guides, and I'm like, hey dude, like, you got a wag bag? And he's like, no, I don't have a wag bag. And then he goes, hey man, you got a wag bag? And then that guy doesn't have a wag bag, and he goes, hey, does anyone have a wag bag?
And you hear like echo
Like
off
down
this
the
canyon.
It's like, oh, wag bag, wag bag. And from like across the canyon, someone's like, I've got one. Who needs it? And so I'm like, I do. It's me. And so everyone is cheering, and so I, have to take my wag bag and go off, and
I have to show him where to go.
Yeah,
it's like a scene.
such a production.
Yeah,
But
and it's like embarrassing because Leave No Trace doesn't have a stupid wag bag.
I know it was a
But
comedy.
it happens, yeah.
But it was a positive experience. Had a great day ice climbing, and
I love it.
grew closer to all of my new friends.
Yeah. I mean, let's normalize pooping in the outdoors.
Oh, yeah. Let's do it. It's great.
We all got to do it at some point.
Yep.
Peeing, periods, and personal hygiene. These are the 4 Ps of Leave No Trace.
Nice.
I love it so much. Well, thank you so much for closing us out with that beautiful story.
Yeah.
Thank you so much to everybody who joined in. I hope you had a blast. I hope you got some questions answered. We are always here to answer more questions. Feel free to DM us, send us questions via the YouTube channel. Send them via Instagram message.
Yep. All of our social links are on the website, terradrift.com.
And we're happy to answer them. If we can't answer them, we will loop in Becca and Luke, and if they're not terribly busy, maybe they can help out as well.
Yeah, Leave No Trace org is all of our handles.
Sweet.
Absolutely. And of course you can always ask questions on there too. Tons of
Oh, yeah.
excellent information and like fun reels and information and stuff. So tips, tricks, etc. So thanks everybody for attending. We hope to see you around Terradrift and leavenotrace.org soon. And everybody have a great night and like enjoy your weekend eve. That's Thursday. For anybody who doesn't call Thursday
Yeah.
Yeah.
weekend eve.
And it's officially spring as of 2 days ago. So
So
Hey.
happy spring. And
Merry Go on.
wander on, guys.